Okay, welcome back, Ramblers, and to our first time and part-time guest, greetings to you all as well. Now today, our video is going to cover adding a hydraulic oil cooler and an oil filter to my Chinese mini excavator. My particular model is an AGT Industrial H13R. Well, let's get right to it, shall we? Alright, we're going to go ahead and show you the final product end result first. This is the big picture back shots view of how I added my cooler and filter to the machine. If you see here, I put an orange twist tie on this hose. I also have an orange twist tie right here at the hydraulic oil reserve tank. Did that to show that originally this hose was connected directly to the tank. So what I did was I separated the hose and I brought it from here on this side underneath the engine over here. Then we just run it through the cooler across to the filter, then back into the tank right there. Pretty simple. Now we'll show you a couple of close-up views. Okay, that's what it looks like on the left side of the machine where the oil filter is connected to the hydraulic reserve tank. Now I will tell you right now ahead of time that the fitting that is welded onto this tank is a 15L or 15 light DIN fitting, and that's got metric 22 by 1.5 threads. We're going to cover all that in a lot more detail later on in the video. Alright, coming off the filter, I've got a hydraulic hose that I had to get made, and it comes across, goes over to the right side of the machine where the oil cooler is installed. And then on the bottom of the cooler, we got the return line from the valve body. Well, Ramblers, another distinguished guest. Now that we've seen the end solution to the project, let's just sit down, slow down, and talk for a quick bit. Now, put the end at the beginning of the video for the people that just wanted to see the overall picture. They just wanted to see where I mounted my filter, where I mounted my cooler. They're just looking for ideas on how to do theirs, and they're not wanting or needing to see the details, at least not right now. Now, for those of you that do have questions and want more details, put y'all at ease. Here in short order, I'm going to show y'all an exploded view of my connections. And I'm going to go through each adapter and fitting that I used. They're going to be labeled, and I'm going to name them. There should be no question when I get done on how I did my specific installation. Now, of course, I'm going to remind everybody, I don't pretend to tell everybody the right way to do things. I'm just showing you how I did it. It's for information purposes only, right? Now, and if you stick around after that, if you'd like to, I'm going to show some B-roll footage of me doing a few things while I was completing the project. Not a whole lot, but just a few things. But before we get to the nitty-gritty, I want to give a shout out to a few people. Now, I'm learning just like y'all are learning. We're all in this together, you know. So before I started this project, I looked at a channel called The Garage Connection, and he has a lot of good videos and content on these machines. Very informative. And I watched his videos and I learned from him. And he actually has kits. He has a site where he sells all-in-one kits to do these projects with, okay? And it will probably, to be honest with you, you'd probably have an easier time completing this project if you just bought one of his all-in-one turnkey kits. That's an option, you know. So I would suggest you go check out his channel and see what he has to show you, because he's informative as well. The next guy is going to be Papa Junk, and he has some good videos on these mini excavators as well, and other videos on other topics that are good. So I suggest you go check out his channel. Now, here comes the wind and the rain, by the way. He the Papa Junk video that I remember specifically is covering how he adjusted the choke and the throttle cables on his mini excavators. Mine is doing the same thing. They bind up and it's hard to pull and push on the choke cable on mine. And he detailed how he solved that problem. And so now that that's all said, I guess it's time to get to the specifics of the thing. Okay, now we have a physical exploded view labeled. It's all laid out in place, how I connected it. I'm going to show y'all later a tighter view so you can read the labels for each one of my fittings. But before that, let's look at the overall picture here. This is a hydraulic reserve tank, where it's representing it. This represents the original hose. Originally, this hose was connected to this tank via this 15L DN fitting, okay? That's why I got these red dots to show you where they were. So what we did was we separated this hose from this tank, and we put the filter and cooler in line in place of just that connection. Okay, starting here, this represents our hydraulic reserve tank. The tank has welded to it a 15 light or single L DIN male fitting. That's metric 22 millimeters by 1.5 millimeter pitch. Now the next fitting, this is going to be the one that's probably going to be a little harder to find. This one and the other one at the other end of the chain, because it goes from DN to JIC. So this one's probably going to be a little bit harder, maybe a little bit harder to find. It is on one side a 15L DN female, DKO version of the female. The DN fittings have 3 different female fittings, and this one's a DKO. And it goes to an 8 JIC or AN male. If you want to know what that looks like, you can't really see it. It's a cone and it's got a rubber O-ring partways in the thing. Obviously, it's got the same threads as the male. It's 22 by 1.5, and this nut is a 27 millimeter wrench. Now, moving along from this fitting to this one, so we have an 8 JIC female to fit with this 8 JIC male, and this adapter goes from 8 JIC female to 3/4 inch national pipe thread male. And I've already put it inside my filter housing, because the filter housing is obviously 3/4 inch national pipe thread female. And that gets us to the oil filter. Now, on the other side of the oil filter, it's also 3/4 inch national pipe thread female on both ends. So we have a 90-degree male to female national pipe thread elbow. Then we have another 90-degree male to female national pipe thread elbow that are custom hose that I had purchased. I believe $67. And it has a 3/4 inch national pipe thread male fitting on the end of the hose that went into this elbow. Now, on the left side of the machine, starting with the hose coming from the right side, this is the custom hose that I had made. It ends on this side with a 90-degree 10 JIC female fitting. Then I attached a 90-degree male to female 10 JIC. It's right here. Male to female 10 JIC 90-degree elbow. Connects to the cooler that this represents. And the cooler's got the 10 JIC male. Now, drawing a line here, everything below is a different hose, different connection on the cooler. Starting with the cooler, we've got the 10 JIC male fitting. That's a part of the cooler. Then we have a 10 and an 8 female to female JIC coupler. Then we have a 9-degree male to female JIC 8 on both sides. Then we have the non-standard fitting, it goes from one standard to another. It's 8 JIC male on one side and 15L DN male on the other side. This is 22 by 1.5 threads. That's what you can look at if you want to see the inside. This is a 24-degree cone. Then this connects to our original hose that this represents with the 15L DN female DKO fitting on the end of this hose. And this hose is the return from the valve body. It goes from the valve body, returns through here. It's going to go all through here and back to the reserve tank. Welcome back, Ramblers. Well, this time I went off and done a bunch of stuff without y'all. So this video is going to be shorter and less detailed than I would like. But, hey, nobody's perfect, right? Except for God, of course. So this is the cab off my AGT Industrial H13R. I made a lifting bar to go to the 1-ton chain fall and then shackle around the tree limb. Strap around the tree. Alright, here we are, closer to the machine. So the cab was only held on with 4 bolts. One right here. I don't know if y'all can see that. One right here. Let me get around there. One right here. And likewise on the other one that you can't see. Basically where the little rust stains are. Now, this is pulled up. I didn't realize it had hung up on there when I was lifting it up, and so I bent this. I'll have to bend it back. Also, a note, this wiring harness, plug, whatever you want to call it, the wiring for the cab went through here, down here, plugged in. Well, I had to cut it. Had to cut all those wires. I'll have to reconnect those later on. The little fan didn't work from the day one anyway, so, but the lights do, so I'm definitely going to be hooking this back up. So that's that. And we'll be removing this floor plate later on. Alright, Ramblers. Well, the dream of getting to the hydraulic shop today is that's over with. That ain't happening as expected. But I want to show y'all something real quick in case y'all's machine is similar and you're going to be doing something like this. I'm going to take these covers off because my plan is to undo the other side of the return hydraulic hose that goes to the tank that we showed you the one end before. So I want to go ahead and take that. I want to try to take it off. See if it's not too much trouble, because I'm just going to take that entire hose with me to the hydraulic shop. Okay, so this is working so far. So I didn't really know. I just started unbolting stuff. So the first one I did was this big bolt right here. Well, it actually had a nut on the back side and it fell through, got on the ground. I was able to get it. But I realized this is a bigger one. These smaller ones, if you're going to take off this yellow cover, there's no nut. It's threaded into this sheet metal right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? On the other side. I'm actually keeping them all in this Dr. Pepper bottle for right now. So, trying not to lose any more. I think I'm missing 2 from my back cover somehow. And once you get those 4, this is pretty much loose. Now there is a set screw on these handles, so I'm going to take care of that. Now, after you take these set screws off, it slides up. There's a little keyway. We're all learning together, Ramblers. We're learning together. This is just I've never done this either. All right. Let's see. Hopefully this works. Oh. Oh, man. I don't know what the angle's like. The angle looks kind of bad, but only got one shot at this, I guess. Look in there and kind of try to see if I'm tearing something up. I guess I could have undid these. I got bolts on here I could have undid, but like always, Ramblers, I like doing shit the difficult way. Yeah, so for all you out there at home, all my followers and Ramblers, it'll probably be easier to unbolt these as well. Alright, let's see what we got. Woo, there we go. Alright, now we got to find our return line. I think she's going to be right here. One of these two. The big one. Get the camera flipped around. We'll look at it. Alright, Ramblers, we're back on the other side. So, here we are. We got, I'm going to guess that this is the one I'm looking for. I'm going to guess that this is the return line. I could be wrong. One of these is return and one of these is straight from the hydraulic. Alright, Ramblers. Here's the end of the hose that was originally as bought. This went to the hydraulic tank, reservoir tank. Alright, this was the return line. So here it is. I can feel it is the right hose. So we're dealing with this banjo fitting. Now, in the interest of making sure I get the right fittings when I go to the hydraulic shop, I think I'm just going to take this with me. It's a decision I'm going to make. So there we are, Ramblers. We got both ends of this hose, the supply hose that we're going to be piping into, identified. That way, if necessary, we can take this to the hydraulic shop. Now, only thing we got to do now is make a measurement on the hose length that we're going to be needing to get made, and draw a picture and figure out all the various fittings, the types, you know, DN to JIC and MPT and whatnot. Okay, Ramblers, I'm going to show you how I'm going to get a scratch measurement on the hydraulic hose. So we're going to ask for a 180-degree fitting right here. I'm assuming they make such devices. Not, we'll just ask for 290s, right? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this handy dandy water transporting device. Now I could have got a zip tie. It would have been a little more technical, but I mean, at this point, I think, are we really worried about being professional? So we want to kind of give a little bit of extra because this is going to be standing off some bit. I don't know how much. I don't know how long those fittings are going to be, if it's going to be one fitting or two. So we can get a little bit of extra length, and we'll have play with the flexibility of the hose a little bit.